the webinar. Very excited to have you here today. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties that slowed us down a little bit, but we are just moving along and we, we will get it all together. We have Quinn and Brittany in the questions today. So if you are here and you can hear me, I don't have my screen up quite at this second, but I'm going to pull that up in just a hop, skip, and a jump. Let me know where you're coming in from today, and we will get rolling here. So let me pull this up. At least I will when it's starting. You know those days when technology just doesn't seem to be on your side? This is kind of one of those days, but that is okay. And yes, no video showing quite yet, Michael. Hey to Dawn, hey to MJ, hey to Lisa from the East. This should show up. Nope, it's the slightly wrong one. There we go. And we've got Simone and Vicky and Tanya and Trisha and Autumn and a whole bunch of other wonderful people. And I am just going to do 2 extra little things here. But I'm really excited I'm really excited to be able to talk about these kind of things here, to be able to talk about email marketing, to be able to talk about hooks, because these sometimes are the things that get a little bit forgotten in the marketing, because these are the things that aren't nearly as flashy. These are the things that are not necessarily seen with the same oomph as something like Amazon advertising. And so we need to remember while we're going through all of these, we need to remember that there are, we can't forget the marketing methods of, say, 2017 or 2016 when we are trying to figure out how are we going to get our books moving? How are we going to, nothing has worked to this point. How are we going to be able to get this book that hasn't sold in a fair bit of time? Oh, we're getting some louder requests. Let me move a little. Is that a little bit better? I will try to actually move this thing out of the way. My P's may pop a little bit more, but let me know if that's a little bit better, you guys. Not surprising that some technology continues to fight us a little bit in this one, but I am really excited to be able to help you guys figure out if there's a reason you've been running things like email marketing, you've been running things like ads, and nothing has worked the way you expect it to, then this is the class where we are going to be able to go over some of those aspects of the kind of perennial evergreen type marketing, and to be able to help you guys figure out, well, what is it that you've been missing? And so I am really excited to be able to go over that with you today, and hopefully that is going to help you figure out what it is you can do next in your author career. So I'm just checking to see. There's several folks. I think there's some folks who can't hear at all, and Quinn and Brittany, I would recommend the old restart the webinar and come back in. So without further ado, with a little bit of the delay and everything and all the tech stuff we're trying to figure on our side, we will get it figured out. So I'm going to try to talk right into the mic here, but I don't want you guys turn up your volume. That's about where we're at here. So let us go into it. So how much is a hook worth? How much is a hook actually worth to your author business? A hook that you would use in a book description, in your ads. How much is like one line of copy worth? You might think, well, it's 20 words or fewer. So it seems like the answer could be not that much, right? It's definitely seems like because there are few words, it must not mean that much. Like, oh, well, it's only 15, 20 words, but you hear stories of folks like Adam Croft. Adam Croft being the author of Her Last Tomorrow, who had over 6 figures in book sales with just one book, and he attributes a lot of that to one hook. You have sci-fi and nonfiction author Chris Fox, who has attributed much of his sci-fi success with one of his series to running ads to the hook that he found was the most successful hook. So that hook, having that line of copy that is going to do incredible things for your book is it can make a huge difference. And so if a hook can be used to contribute, obviously the book needs to be good, but if the hook can be used to contribute to 6 figures in book sales, then can that strong first line or piece of ad copy, is that worth 20%, 30%, 1%? Who knows? How much of that big successful takeaway can be attributed to that hook? Just kind of some food for thought there. How much is an email worth? Well, a lot of us probably, if you've ever felt like when you're writing an email that it feels like a necessary chore, say yes, it's a pain in the butt to write emails. You can say that in the comments. Writing emails kind of can seem like an obligation than a practice that's going to make us money. Just like, oh, well, this is just part of the deal. I have to put on my author marketing hat. But these letters from the internet, from the magical internet, they can get us sales, they can get us reviews, and they can lead to us having super fans. And you can sort of calculate that in dollars and cents. You can definitely say, all right, well, I made this amount of money and I sent out this email and I connected with my readers via my email list all year. And I looked at my numbers and my subscribers were worth about $23 each in 2019. And so it really depends on the way you look at it. And I see Jean is definitely feeling the same, Wendy the same, Susan the same. Absolutely the same with people struggling with the email writing. If you calculate how much you made based off of your number of subscribers, you could say each subscriber is worth a certain amount. And some of those people will go on to buy future books, so their value might not even be fully realized. So if you do say, all right, well, an email that I write this one time for getting people to buy the first book in my series, could you say that that one email you write helps you to make thousands of dollars? I definitely would say I have emails certain emails that have made me over $10,000. And that email took me an hour, hour and a half to write, but it was totally worth it. And you might say, kind of in a per book value, you can say that the email could be more valuable word per word than the book. If an email has made you a certain amount of money, and the book, because it's 150 times longer than the email, you might even say the email was more worth your time to write. Now, I'm not saying obviously the email isn't going to work with the book. Without having a book. You can't just have an email where you're pitching nothing, of course. But I just want to get you thinking in the mindset that these short pieces of copywriting, even though they're short, it doesn't mean they're not valuable. And I think that we need to remember that when we see a lot of flashy marketing out there. So if a hook can be used to make a lot of money, if a good email, maybe in an automated sequence of emails, which I'll talk about in a second, if these things can be very valuable, why don't we necessarily treat them valuably? Well, they're short, so they don't seem as important. They're hard. They're hard to write. We don't like them. We would rather not write these hooks because we think they're going to be easier because they're shorter, and then we have trouble with one, and then we start not wanting to ever deal with them, so we kind of push them off to the side. Also, it's kind of a challenge to see their short-term value because you could write an email, say it's an email that you use to welcome new people, and the email does a really good job of connecting you with readers, but you only have 5 readers on your email list so far. That's tough to see the short-term value. But if you were to build your email list and get 500 people on it in the future, you might see money from that email, even though in the short term, it looks like I just wasted my time. So if you can push past the limiting beliefs that these things are just getting in the way of your writing time, then we can give kind of the appropriate level of focus. If we can get the appropriate level of focus for our copywriting, we can potentially make some more money off of those emails. Now, short copywriting does take practice. I've logged over 10,000 hours writing hooks. I used to be a short form copywriter for ghostwriting for publications like Forbes and Fast Company. So I wrote short form articles and my own emails. I know that it's just so important to put in those reps at the gym, to do it over and over again, to have the deliberate practice where you're trying to get better and better over time. But you can save a lot of time when you know where to begin. So that's why we're going to start with some formulas. We've got 2 formulas here. Most of the hooks for fiction start with what a character wants, what's in her way, and what'll happen if she doesn't get it. So that is where the genesis of most hooks begins, is on that front. Now, most emails, I'm going to go into those hook formulas more, don't worry. Most emails start out with a story. They move into an offer. They move into something you want to happen in that email. And they end with a question. They end with a question. So if you are struggling to write an email, it's possible that you are running out, you are trying to do something from scratch when you could be using a formula. Now, there are some differences with nonfiction. We are going to get into that today, but you can get a ton of value out of your hooks and your email, even if you haven't put in the 10,000 plus hours. Even if you haven't put in the 10,000 plus hours, you will still get a lot of value out of trying to follow these formulas. So here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn how to write an effective hook, no matter what genre you write in. Moving my microphone slightly. You're going to learn how emails fit into your ideal author marketing plan. Ooh, sorry. You're going to learn how to write emails that get readers to take essential actions. I'll go into what those essential actions are. And here's what you're going to need. You are going to need full undivided attention for 60 minutes of teaching, 30 minutes of Q&A. This is the best way. If you have 6 other things going on, you are going to find it difficult to get as much out of this webinar as you can. And you are going to want to have a hook of your book. You're going to want to have the first line of your book description copied and ready, because we are going to have a short evaluation period in the middle and a little bit longer evaluation period at the end during the Q&A session. So have a hook of your book copied and ready to paste for evaluation. So don't paste it now, because I'm going to miss that. I also would love it if you're willing to listen and you're willing to learn. I know that it's tough. We're here in the middle of the day for some. We're here bright and early in the morning for others. We're late at night in the UK, or we're getting later in the day in the UK. So please just try to listen. And I hope that there is good information here that you will learn from. Now, I hope you'll stay till the end. I will give you a copy of the slides. It's going to take a second because of all the technical troubles we were enduring at the beginning, but I will make sure you leave with the slides. Brittany and Quinn, feel free to remind me. I will also give you a deeply discounted premium offer to continue some of the things you learn here, and then we will have the Q&A at the end. So let's get on with it. I have some important definitions. First, we're going to start with the hook definitions. What is the hook? The hook is the first line of your book description that is short, punchy, and emotional, with the intention of getting the reader to keep reading the blurb. So 80% of people stop reading a book description or an ad after the first line. So if our first line is not very captivating, or it's not for them, they're going to go away. So the hook is all about getting people to stay on the page. This is, Joy says I'm going a little too fast. I will try to slow down my transitions there, Joy. Don't worry, we are going to send out a replay, so you don't need to take scribbling crazy notes. But you want an emotional line of copy that keeps the reader on the page, because there's so many distractions. You want to make sure that you are doing everything you can to entice the reader enough that no distraction will get them away. And your hook can be used as advertising copy as well. Conflict. Conflict is an explanation of your book's central connection between the protagonist and antagonist, the good guy versus the bad guy. And it's expressed as your character wants something, but a person or a thing is standing in his or her way. So someone wants something, and something stands in their way. Now, it's often helpful for dramatic tension when the thing your character wants is the opposite of the thing that the bad guy wants. And so you are making every effort to explain that connection in the form of the conflict. And we are going to use the conflict to create the hook in fiction. Nonfiction will be a little different. Cliffhanger. This is often the last line of a book description synopsis, and it shows off what are the potential consequences in your story world if it doesn't work out. If the character doesn't get what they want, what is going to happen? Will they die? Will the guy and the girl not get together? These are the big cliffhangers. You want it to be about the love. I should have said love instead of life. Love or death or enlightenment. These are the only stakes they can be. There needs to be something at stake, or the character or the readers will not be interested enough to keep reading into your book. So I said stakes. What are the stakes? What are the stakes of your book? This is what is at stake. What will happen if the character fails in their mission? If the conflict facing your character is not a big deal, the stakes are low. If someone might die or something really bad might happen, the stakes are high. What I find in a lot of hooks that people write is that they don't realize that they've made the stakes low. But if your stakes are always as high as humanly possible, then people are going to, if the stakes are as high as humanly possible, then the readers are going to want to find out what happens. And that is what we truly want. So here is the 3-part hook formula for fiction. Like I said, I will be sharing the slides at the end. It's what the character wants, what's in her way, and the high stakes consequences if she doesn't get it. So that is the 3-part formula. And now I'm getting a nice call from Windsor, Connecticut that I forgot to mute. But what the character wants, what's in her way, and the high stakes consequences, which could be condensed into 2 parts, which is the conflict, as I just defined on the previous slide, and the cliffhanger. What is the character wanting? What's going to stop them from getting it? And what on earth will happen? Who will die? Who will not fall in love if they don't pull it off? So Harry Potter wants to learn magic, but the most powerful wizard in the world wants him dead. Pretty high stakes. In romance or 2 point of view, we're going to express what the 2 characters want instead of just one. So I pulled from Jojo Moyes' Me Before You. She's out of work. He's lost his will to live, but her sharp tongue and caring, sorry about the typo there, will her sharp tongue and caring heart bring him back from the edge? So what are the consequences? He might, end his life. But what do they want? Well, she wants to bring him back from the edge. But if she doesn't, then she's not going to have love anymore. She is not going to feel like she made him happy. So for romance, it is a little more complicated because We are conveying two characters' wants, and we're conveying the consequences of them not getting what they want. But that is essentially the formula. Now, for nonfiction, it's problem, solution. Are you struggling to find new readers? Learn how a compelling synopsis can make your book fly off the digital shelves. It's always problem solution. If you aren't sure what problem your book is solving, you need to start kind of talking to readers who read similar books. You need to look in the reviews of books like yours in order to see what did people learn from reading these books. Because if they if you're not sure, you're not going to be able to find your target readers. This hook here for my book Sizzling Synopsis is targeting the authors who have had trouble selling their books. What's the problem? I can't find new readers. What's the solution? This compelling synopsis. Now, I will make a note on memoir. This usually follows the fiction formula rather than nonfiction for the hook, because you're telling a story. Even though it's narrative, even though it's nonfiction, it is narrative. So you are kind of making it about the formula. I mean, you are making it about the story, not the formula. So there are some hacks on hooks before we get to, I will go over 5 of these hooks at random. You want to take a first draft mindset when you are writing your hooks. What does that mean? Well, a lot of people say, oh, I am really struggling to come up with 2 or 3 different versions for this hook, and you said you want 15. Well, that's just impossible. Well, I find that this comes when an author is struggling to get out of the editor brain. So when you are dealing with the editor brain, you are going to run into a lot of trouble because every single word is going to kind of stick. You won't necessarily be able to think about, you'll be thinking too much rather than just kind of diving into the, you'll be thinking too much rather than diving into the material like you do when you're trying to get 2,000 words on the page. So you need to almost, maybe you take your day of writing and instead you devote it to the hooks or the book description. Rats, just for one day, take one day out of your writing schedule and set it up to be your hook writing day. That can make a huge difference. You also want to make sure you have those really, really high stakes, because if you are not making it, it's just like when you are trying to write the book in the first place, right? It is all about the biggest day in a character's life. It is all about it not being just some, I mean, unless it's a certain genre where that's important, it is all about it being the most intense possible day that this person could be experiencing. Because if it is just boring to the reader because this doesn't seem that interesting, then they aren't going to buy your book. And your book is interesting. Your book does have a lot of really big stakes things happen in it, even if it's something like literary fiction where the stakes are really closer to enlightenment. But in most genre fiction, it's about someone might die or someone might not fall in love. So you absolutely need to make sure your hook does not downplay the awesomeness of your book. I am obsessed with thesaurus.com. I am obsessed with it. I will always have it open when I am writing copy. I just like I know that I am always going to need a stronger verb. I am always going to need a stronger noun. And there is nothing like I don't feel bad about it that I didn't always come up with the best word on my own. I'm a writer. I should be able to figure this out. I don't worry about any of that stuff. I worry about just getting the best possible hook on the page. So I will always be looking for other words to try out. Now, lastly, because Amazon ads have a limit on copy, it has to be 149 characters or less. I always try to edit my pieces of copy so that they are fewer than 149 characters. So, Brian, can you take a look at my hooks? Sure. I'm going to pick 5 at random. Just start typing them in there, copying them, pasting them. Probably some of the first people are going to have the best shot. And I will start looking at them and going over how I think they can be improved. And then we will kind of move on here. So let me pull up. I will pull up a Google document so that I can play with these live. And you'll be able to see just how many windows I have open as we move into Chrome. And it looks like that is now visible. So let's go into the questions box here. I'm making Brittany and Quinn's life interesting by having all of these. All right. I'm pulling this one up from you, Andrea Mansu. All right, let's go into this. Finishing school failed to turn them into proper ladies. Now these 4 friends vow to remain single until they find suitors worthy of their love and devotion. And let me make this a little bigger. So I will say, and this is a problem I run into in a lot of blurbs that are submitted to Best Page Forward. When it's about more than one character, it's about nobody. This is the problem. So if you have a situation where you have 4 equal main characters, I would pretend you live in a world where you actually have one main character, at least for the purposes of the blurb. So how I would change this, I don't know the names of the characters in yours, but I would just say it's Claire. Let's go with. Finishing school, failed to turn Claire into a proper society lady. Now she's joined with, let's see, she and her friends have vowed to remain single until they all find love. And this is where it gets interesting. I assume it doesn't work out for all 4 of them and one of them probably dives in sooner. You'd probably say, but when she finds her soulmate first, can she keep her friendships alive? Now this is too long, so we are going to need to tighten this, but see how when it's actually one character, we can make a stronger connection rather than if it's a whole bunch of them? This is a huge deal here. We need to really focus, because a lack of focus gets us no connection. I don't care about 4 ladies. I care about 1 lady. So now we need to tighten it to get it to 149 characters. So Claire's no proper society lady. But she does have her devoted friends. When she finds her soulmate, can she keep her friendships alive? So let's go check out Word Counter, my favorite friend. And we're under the 149. So it doesn't have as much explanation, but it's about 1 character as opposed to a bunch of different characters. Let's see. Here we go. I'm picking yours, Leah. Leah Busboom. All right, we got enough room here. He's a broken man. She's broken living in her car. Can they both find each other a new purpose in life? This is good. We're starting strong. I understand the broken and broke, the desire to have that kind of parallelism in the blurb, but I actually don't love when we only have 20 words or less for there to be an echo of one of the words in another. So I'd go with, see, it's tough. I usually will start with the female POV. So I'm going to do that. She's penniless. I have no idea if that was right. He's a broken man. When they give each other a second chance, will love save them both? So, why did I change this purpose to love? Now, I don't know for sure, Leah, but I'm assuming based on the framework, this is a romance. Possibly religious, possibly not. Now, if this is romance, if this is women's fiction or literary fiction, I'm fine with this ending here. If this is something more along the lines of romance, then we need to have that love in there. So she's penniless, he's a broken man. When they give each other a second chance, will love save them both? So it's more about the love than it is about the purpose. See if I can find a nonfiction. I love this. Here we go. Here's Sheila. So we have a nonfiction one coming from Sheila. Get to hear all of my keyboard strokes here. Are you struggling to conceive? Do you feel no one understands what it's like dealing with infertility? So this is 2 problems, but we need a problem followed by a solution. Now, these are 2 very different things. So we could try to combine this. Are you struggling to, has infertility taken over your life and relationships? Or has it just taken over your life, which kind of insinuates that it's messing with the people who might be understanding? Discover a step-by-step system for feeling better and unlocking your family's next chapter. So, has infertility taken over your life is kind of the combination of these two. Discover the step-by-step system for feeling better and unlocking your family's next chapter is that this book, this very book, is the solution to the problem. It's not just two problems. It's, yes, the reader identifies with this, and then we continue. We say this book is going to solve the problems. So I'm going to try to go back and find Aaron. I believe you were the first one to post. So I am going to reward you by posting yours here. All right. Okay. John Zong's mother died when his family fled their home country. Before he discovers the truth, a murderous cult shows up at his door. Will he survive? So this is tough because we don't necessarily need to have all the facts here in the hook, but there is a lot of there is a lot of good emotional weight in here. So let's try to rephrase. So when his mother is murdered, I'm gonna still work on this. Murdered. John vows to find the answers, but when a murderous cult storms his door, will he survive long enough to find the truth? So this isn't all the way there yet, but we're going to keep working on it because I introduced passive voice, which I don't love doing. This goes, it doesn't put the proper noun first. It puts more of the murder first, which is going to have a little more weight. John vows to find the answers. So John vows. So we have a strong verb there. And we have the storms his door, and we're connecting the cult to the truth. So versus there being a whole separate, will he survive? Which kind of kills the impact a little bit. We want to connect the cult to the finding the truth. So we could play around with if we wanted to tighten a murdered mother, a murderous cult. No, his mother murdered. No, that doesn't work either. We're still working on it. His mother was killed looking for the truth. When John battles a cult to find answers, will he face the same gruesome fate? So we're still working on it. It's still not 100% there, but I want to just encourage this to be more about John, what John is feeling. And I've got my daughter coming in here. Riley, I'm teaching a class right now, so you've gotta stay out, but I will be done in a little bit, okay? Yeah, you can teach another master class after, but I've got to keep going here, Riley. Sorry for the little delay. Yes, I will buy your master class. Can you close the door on the way out? We don't have locks in our house, so love you. Okay, we needed a Riley appearance anyway, but we're trying to get closer to having more impact terms like truth and fate and killed and gruesome so that we're tightening with stronger copy all the way through. I've got one more. Let's pick all the way at the bottom here. Oh my gosh, so cute. All right, Carolyn, you're one of the last people. So you took a chance, even though I might never get there. So I'm going to go with yours, and we will cover some more later. Sebastian vows to restore his crumbling training stables in Provence. His plans are soon marred through sabotage and arson. Will he be able to restore his past? So I imagine if there's arson, if there's sabotage, his life might be in danger. Now, maybe it's straight up, Carolyn. Maybe it's straight up um, literary fiction, but I have a feeling it might have more danger in it. So let's take out the proper noun and say if his crumbling training stables, maybe they're family stables. So I'm going to just kind of assume he's trying to kind of pick up where his past left off. Maybe I'll leave out the family thing just in case that's not quite right. Because we want what he wants. What does he want? He wants a bright future. He wants to be a trainer. He wants to be successful. He dreams of a successful stable. But sabotage and arson could destroy his future. Can he restore the past and preserve his life? There we go. So hopefully you see that this kind of goes more into he wants something, something is in his way, but the cliffhanger, can he survive this whole thing? Can he make it through? So I love yeah, Riley loves to teach a master class. Jeff Haskell and Amy Lou are interested. Definitely she'll charge in through the nose. Everyone wants the master class. This is hilarious. So good work, everybody. Those were the 5 we're going to go over. We will jump into some more during the Q&A. I appreciate you not minding too much that my daughter made an appearance, but you guys are right. It's family first. We are all just trying to survive the captivity, and if it's super, super cute, then we are going to have a good time the whole way through. So I'm just putting a little thing here so I don't forget. All right, great. Let's move back into it. Let's talk about some more important definitions. Your email sequence, which is also known as your automatic emails. What are these? These are the emails that you write ahead of time that are going to go out to your readers when they join your list. After all, you can schedule emails to go out, whether they be for a launch, whether they be for someone to leave a review. You can schedule these so you don't have to think about them. And I have a tendency to invent stuff from scratch, but in reality, the more effective way to have your successful author career is by creating something once and then having it work thousands and thousands of times over again. Just looking at moving something in the way. Oh, Leah wants me to send over the hook that I wrote. Sure, I will absolutely do that, Leah. Your email list. I've mentioned email list a few times. Some of you might not be familiar. An email list is your collection of subscribers who opt in to receive emails from you. So these are the people who you enticed, whether it be through a freebie or through some kind of joint promotion. They have opted in. They have said, it's okay for you to send me emails. you opted in to one of my offers for a class or a challenge. And so I sent you emails about this webinar so you could find out about it. Now, here's the thing. A lot of authors are scared to send more than just new release emails. They say, don't worry. First and foremost, I promise I will never ever email you when it's beyond a new release. I think that is not smart. I think it's foolish because yes, if you send emails more frequently, you will get some unsubscribes. You will get some people who say, nah, I'm opting out. That's okay. I've had thousands of people opt out from my emails, and I say, well, I know that they aren't for me. They aren't one of the people that is going to ever purchase my stuff or listen to my teaching. And at first that stung because I have the personality type where I want everybody to like me. So it can be hard. But I know that it's okay for that to happen. And I would rather have engaged subscribers and fewer of them. I would rather have fewer subscribers who are engaged rather than more subscribers who are only expecting an email once every 2 months. I want to email more than that because I have more things to offer than just that. And I have more offers to send out. Email service provider. This is the company that stores your email subscribers. If you don't have an email list, then you can't just store them in your Gmail account. I mean, you could, but there are companies that do this, like MailChimp, Aweber, MailerLite. I use Aweber. I pay through the nose for them because I have a lot of subscribers on my list, and I don't mind because I can see the monthly value I get out of this. I always am surprised when people, even people I know who are doing extremely well for themselves, say, oh, I just changed to some new provider so that I could save $50 a month. And I'm like, aren't you making thousands of dollars? Why do you need to save $50? You need to expand, not contract. Offer. So an offer is anything you want your readers to take action on. So like buying a book, you tell them about a new release. Like leaving a 5-star review on one of your books, or liking a post, or entering a giveaway, or what have you. An offer is something in an email that you want readers to take action on. And then the call to action is the line of copy you write to get readers to take action. So the call to action is something that you have in the copy of the link. So the highlighted text that is a link, you can say, click here to leave me an honest review on Amazon today. You'd be surprised how often that works to actually say, hey, go do this thing versus here's the link, or versus just a link with no instruction whatsoever. The call to action is essential, particularly in your emails. So how do authors use emails? Well, there's real-time emails like, hey, I have a book coming out today. I'm sending out an email about it. But then there's also emails that go out as part of an automated sequence. You can send an email when you release a book, when you need to gather reviews from a launch team. A launch team is essentially the people who you give books to for free, so they give you reviews. But you can send them out for all sorts of reasons. And I like sending out emails for a variety of reasons, not just even partly sometimes to email them about something. You could email them for a giveaway. You could email them for someone else's book. You could email a survey or a teaser for your upcoming book. There's nothing wrong with teasers. I love teasers. It gets people excited for what's coming next. Now, when you are setting up an automatic sequence of emails, you can build in some of the things that you would have had to write a new email for. Like you could build in getting more reviews. You could build in a survey. There's nothing wrong with that. Putting that in your automated sequence is going to save you time later. And these are going to go out to everyone who subscribes at a certain point. So if the fourth email is, what book do you want me to write next? And you just update that survey all the time, that might be really helpful info for you, depending on where you are in your career. Now, here is my automated sequence for fiction. I'm sure it's going to be different for everyone. Email number 1 is the email that goes out right away. Even if you have something set up where people go to a page that says download my free, like that lets them download your free book, I still, in the email, put a link to download the freebie. In the second email, which I send a couple days later, I send another link to make sure they really make sure they downloaded the freebie. Because if they're not going to read this, I've used this line for years, but it's still true. If they're not going to download your free thing, then they're never going to download your paid thing either. They're never going to make the effort. Email number 3, a few days later. This is a good opportunity to get someone into a reader group on Facebook, or in order to get them to follow, sign up, subscribe to your page, or to get them to look at something on Facebook like a video that you can use for generating more pixel traffic for creating some Facebook ads. That's kind of more of an advanced thing. But getting them to connect on social media is nice because you're going to be emailing them anyway. Why not have them get 2 or 3 touch points with you when you promote things on social media? Email number 4 is, this is where I say, buy my book. I always think my brother and I, he always makes fun of me for being an author. He goes back to the 1990s cartoon show, The Critic, with John Lovitz. And John Lovitz's character has a cardboard cutout that says, buy my book, buy my book. So this is where you ask readers to buy your book. I don't do this until they've gotten to know me a little bit better. Even though the what I'm sharing on this slide is just the offers that I am conveying here, this isn't the only thing I'm doing in these emails. All of these emails are following a formula that I'm going to share in just a second here. Email number 5 is get my future books for free. This is my launch team. This is go join a whole other email list where I'm going to send you freebies in the future. Now for nonfiction, and I am going to share the slides. Don't worry if I went too fast. For nonfiction, there's a few different sequences you can use. You can use the exact same formula as the fiction if you're mostly writing books. So with those 5 emails, you can use those. There's also Jeff Walker's product launch formula, which is you have 3 emails that each of which contain a link to a free video, followed by you promoting something at the end of it, like a course or a service or coaching. There's also the webinar formula, which is you sign people up to a webinar. That's the offer. You're sending them a confirmation email to get the webinar, a replay email with the whatever it is you're offering, the promotion, and multiple other promotional emails at the end of it. The other one, I love this one. A lot of you took you took part in my Amazon ad challenge. This is where you send a confirmation email when people join, and then you send out an email each day of the challenge, followed by at the end, if you're promoting something, you promote that at the end of the challenge. Now, I could do a whole webinar, I could do a whole course on challenges at this point, but that's essentially, in a very short period, the challenge formula in a nutshell. So, how to gather reviewers. So I want to point this out going back to email number 5. Or actually, this is how to gather subscribers. Oh, nice. That's my favorite song too. Riley came in to say that she listens to a lot of 1970s Sesame Street music, and because it's what's on Amazon Prime, and she was just listening to a song from Rock and Roll and Riding. So this should be how to gather subscribers. So when you are trying to get subscribers in the first place, to join your email list, to get them through these automated sequences, you can use a service like Story Origin, Hidden Gems, or Booksprout to try to get more subscribers. You can use a list building service like BookSweeps or Author Platform Rocket. They can get you more street team members. These are often people who are just going to be reviewing your books at first. They might not be the kind of people who buy it. And you could organize a group book funnel giveaway to grow your list of reviewers. These are the people who might not buy, but they help to fuel your initial wave of email subscribers. And then this is more about reviewers, but you can also use the Author Marketing Club Reviewer Grabber. Now, to go back into the writing of the emails, we have a 3-part formula for writing emails as well. So we start with a story. Now, the story is a tale that you tell in your email itself. You don't just say, hey, what's up? I've got this thing going on. You gotta make it really, you got to really make an effort to connect with your reader. So the story of your email is a tale that you tell for entertainment, for education, or just to set up what you have to sell. You can be telling an entertaining story that may seem like it's out of left field, but later on, as you offer something that is related to that story, it becomes more clear. The offer. The offer is anything you want your readers to take action on. Buying a book, leaving a review, liking a post, etc., etc. So, as I mentioned in my email on Tuesday, I believe, it doesn't matter if you are offering something for free. You still have to jazz it up. You can't just say, here's a free book, go download it. No, you have to make it exciting. You have to put heart into it. You have to make sure the readers know that this matters to you. Even if it's a free offer, even if it's you're giving something away, it's still going to take them time and effort to sign up for it. So they absolutely have to, you absolutely have to still make an effort to promote it, even if it's a free offer. Question. So this is the end of almost every email I sent out. You can tell I'm just trying to thesaurus question here. A relevant query. So this is your effort to not just make your email a one-way proposition. It's you want to get readers to take action. And one of the ways you're going to kind of train people to take action is to ask a question. So the question at the end of your, I think my daughter's going to the potty. I have a feeling I'm going to get a, Daddy, I went potty, run in any second now. But this is the way you get readers to start taking more action in your emails, which might get them to start clicking on your offers more. So it's a good thing to create that relationship with your readers. So let's go into each of these, then we'll look at some emails, then we are going to get to the Q&A at the end. This ended up going a little longer than I anticipated, but hopefully, are you still feeling some, are you forget what we became, focus on what we're capable of becoming. And I think we're always growing, we're always improving. I know I'm always trying to. I look at all of this as having a beginner mindset, you guys. There's a lot I have